Mitch White is no longer a Toronto Blue Jay as he was dealt to the San Francisco Giants in exchange for cash considerations. Everybody's favorite player. So we'll break down that trade on this episode of Jays Digest. So a couple of prospects, we'll touch on them. And Dalton Varsho has just been insane to start off this season. He's actually tied for the AL lead in wins above replacement. So I'll break down his magnificence and much more on this episode of Jays Digest. What's up, Jays fans? I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, alongside host Nick Gosse. Bit of an earlier upload for you guys today. The Jays are going to be taking on the Kansas City Royals today at around 7:40 Eastern time, so stay tuned for that. We might have a post-game reaction video for you guys. Not going to rule it out, but we do want to bring you some tidbits of news that have been surfacing here in terms of injury updates, moves that the Blue Jays have made, and Orelvis Martinez, he keeps knocking on that big league door with his sixth home run in 7 games. He's been fantastic. It's only a matter of time before he gets called up, especially considering the lack of power that we've seen in this Blue Jays lineup so far this year. But Nick, so much news to break down here. We had to bring you guys a video before the game tonight because there's just a lot to tackle and a lot to get off our chests before the Jays' 4-game series against the Kansas City Royals, who have been playing some pretty damn good baseball this year.
Yeah, and let's just get right into it. Before we do, a quick reminder, hit the subscribe button, but I won't waste any more time. We'll start with the Jays making the trade, which is Mitch White. Now, this happened a couple days ago. We haven't really had time to cover it with all the games that have been happening. But Peter, again, cash considerations. But the bigger thing here is that we talked about it, I think on camera and off camera as well, that we did not think Mitch White was going to clear waivers this time through the order. Last time, obviously, he cleared it. He's throwing now 96, 97. He obviously was not good with the Jays at all. And the Giants claiming another former Blue Jay. They have Chapman. They have all these guys. Jordan Hicks, former Blue Jay. Now they have Mitch White. Just want to get your quick thoughts. Obviously, this happened a couple days ago. It's nothing huge, but I don't know. I could see Mitch White being a decent reliever for someone. And this kind of closes the window and closes the tree on that whole trade that happened a couple of trade deadlines ago regarding Mitch White to the Blue Jays for Nick Frasso. So ultimately a bit of a bad trade by Ross Atkins, but it is what it is. And yeah, hopefully, I wish Mitch White the best out in San Francisco.
Yeah, I wish him the best. It's going to be a homecoming for him, so that's always nice to see. But yeah, the experiment didn't work out, and it's just simply put, we'll put it that way. You
Yeah.
know, the Jays tried something here. They noticed that Yusei Kikuchi was really struggling in his first year with the team, and they had to solve that fifth starter spot. Ultimately, Mitch White was not the one that would solve that problem. It ended up being a mix of Ross Stripling and some bullpen days and whatnot. And the rest is history. It just didn't work out. Sometimes things don't always work out. But Nick Frasso hasn't exactly lit the world on fire either with the Los Angeles Dodgers. I mean, he was very good when he first got over there, but now he's dealt with some injuries and who knows how he'll pan out as a prospect. Mitch White was a young player coming up through the system in the Dodgers organization who have produced some really good arms lately. So it was worth a gamble if you were Ross Atkins. I don't think anyone's holding their breath looking to see what Nick Frasso is going to do. I mean, it was a tough trade at the time, just considering how Frasso kind of came out and played with the Dodgers initially, but I mean, it just didn't work out. I don't know if it worked out for either team, if I'm being totally honest, the way that things have unfolded. I know that there was another player involved in that as well. I think it was
Some De Jesus, I think. I don't remember.
Alex
Yeah,
DeJesus or something like that, who is with the Jays
correct. Yep.
too, if I'm not mistaken, and he's been pretty good in the minor leagues. At least he was last year. So who knows? Maybe he could be the best player of this deal, and then we're going to be singing praises for Ross Atkins. Who knows? I mean, let's just wait and see on that front. But it was time to cut the cord for Mitch White. It just wasn't working out anymore. He was occupying a roster spot from somebody that deserved it more, and he just wasn't able to get outs when it mattered most for the Blue Jays. So wish him all the best, but I'm glad his time here in Toronto has run its
Yeah,
course.
let us know your thoughts are on it. Yeah, I mean, you said everything there. Hopefully, it all works out for him, and hopefully, I mean, there's a chance at Nick Frasso. I mean, I think the Dodgers are probably happy with the trade, and the Jays aren't upset. Obviously, not the result you wanted. But let's touch on this quickly now, which is Trad Green, who was injured again, happened a couple days ago. But Peter, it's almost more relevant because Nate Pearson came out in his last stint and yesterday's game and gave up 2 runs. That kind of put the game not out of reach, but 3 runs. 2024 Toronto Blue Jays. It's a bit of a task there. And so Pearson was recalled a couple days ago, and Chad Green with a right teres major strain placed on the 15-day IL retroactive to April 17th. And I do want to point out, because I Googled this and it came up on Twitter as well, it's not that the strain is major. The actual part of his body is called the right teres major. Just to be clear here, so he's not saying that they're not saying that the injury is necessarily a major strain. It's just that's the part of the body, which I didn't know. I thought it was a major strain, but it's the right teres. And I'm probably not pronouncing that right. Major. Let me know in the comments if you pronounce that wrong. But Peter, this is actually pretty unfortunate. Chad Green has been very, very good, and it makes sense why John Schneider didn't use him in the game a couple days ago. So, any quick thoughts on this before we move on to Relvis and Dalton?
Well, it could be major.
Yeah,
I
it could
don't
be.
know. I don't know what that is. So I think you did an admirable job there, Nick, in trying to pronounce it. But yeah, this sucks. This sucks. It's another bullpen piece that is going down. And Chad Green wasn't necessarily great to start off the year, but he's old reliable, as we like to call him. You know, someone that you know has been there, done that, has gone big time outs for some competitive New York Yankee teams. So he's an added wrinkle to that bullpen that I trust a little bit more than Nate Pearson. And I know Nate Pearson was very good to start off the year, but we saw that once you mess with his rhythm and once you kind of um, put a tweak in his routine, he can change and he can revert back to some old habits. He had 3 walks yesterday against the San Diego Padres. His fastball command was nowhere to be found to the point where he wasn't even throwing it. And you see the numbers there; they look pretty decent on the surface. But 6 walks and 7 2/3, 10 strikeouts—that's an eye-popping number. But again, he was great to start off the year. His routine had to change a little bit for the better of the organization, or at least they were telling us that. And then he goes back to square one. So Nate Pearson needs to figure it out here. He needs to be able to be relied upon in multiple different scenarios. And when Chad Green comes back, I expect the same thing. Nate Pearson to probably go down and then have to go through this same thing again. Which how is he going to recover from that? Is he too fragile to be able to get sent down and then come up and produce again? I don't know. I don't know what it is with Nate Pearson, but he's got to figure it out and he's got to try to provide some valuable innings here for this team because he was not good yesterday. Give him a break because he was very good to start off the year, but got to be better than he was last night.
Yeah, and Chad Green has been pretty decent to start the season. Definitely better than, well, not even technically better than Nate Pearson, because Nate Pearson had a good start, but someone definitely we trust more veteran leadership there. So let us know what your thoughts are on that. And now we have Orelvis is crazy and a wild Varsho stat. So let's get into both of them. Peter, we keep talking about Orelvis. I mean, at this point, he's just shocking everybody. I don't even know how else to put it. Like, it is getting ridiculous. This was from our video a couple days ago when he homered in 3 consecutive games and 4 of his last 5. And I just gave you a quick tease of the Varsho stat. But this is Orelvis' week in Ohio. Peter, he has 5 home runs in his last 28 at bats. He's 10 for the last 28, 2 doubles. He's or a double of 13 RBIs, 929 slugging, almost a 1400 OPS. His hitting streak is on fire. Like, he is. I mean, we talk about him forcing himself onto the scene here. This is getting crazy, very crazy. He's kind of not an older prospect. He's 22 years old, but he could come up soon. I don't know where he's going to fit into this team, but this is getting. I don't even know how to. It's wild to me.
It's ridiculous. It's truly ridiculous what he's been doing. And he started off his first 11 games of the season without a home run, and we were all sounding the alarm bells. Well, what happened to his power? Did Guillermo Martinez get to him? No, apparently not, because he's got 6 home runs in his last 7 games. And he's on fire. I mean, I don't know how else to put it, Nick. The guy's been tearing the cover off the ball, hitting the crap out of it. And he just looks so good down there, so comfortable. It's not only his power that's shining, it's his plate discipline. He's getting on base at a near 400 clip in that hitting streak. He's hitting over 330, which is another encouraging sign. The swing and miss seems to be evaporating from his game. He's taken strides in every area that he needs to be better in as a hitter. And that's very encouraging if you're the Blue Jays. Now, we're seeing, let me use the example of Jackson Holiday. Okay. This guy was tearing it up in AAA. He was the next greatest thing. He was going to be the next surefire Hall of Famer to make his big league debut. What is he? He's 1 for 30 so far in his first 30 at bats. He's got 16 strikeouts. It's a K rate above 50%. And There's talk about sending him back down. So you don't want to rush these things. I know we're all excited about Orelvis Martinez. We all want to see him come up to the big leagues and hit home runs and show off that power that has made him one of the top prospects in the organization for the last like 3 or 4 years now. But we got to wait. We got to wait and see how consistent he can be. Let's give him another month. If he's still doing this in like 2 or 3 weeks, then yeah, bring him up and let's see the a Relvis show in action here. Like enough is enough. How much more does he have to do down there? But there is a significant gap between AAA pitching and Major League pitching. And example A, Exhibit A, it's Jackson Holliday, who is the top prospect in baseball. So things take time. I'd love to see a Relvis Martinez doing well, but let's give him a couple more weeks just to see if this is a blip on the radar or if this is really who he is.
Yeah, and they're not going to rush it because of really the complications that'll come with if he having to use all these roster moves. They have obviously Biggio, Schneider, all these guys who can play. Ernie Clement, who they're not going to send down, so he might force himself. Maybe if he could learn how to play the outfield, they could fit him into a bigger role. But Peter, before we wrap up, speaking of the outfield, we saw this. I saw this on Twitter today. 2024 AL Position Player Award leaders. Dalton Varsho has eclipsed Juan Soto and Riley Green. Now again, war is not end all be all. None of us are here saying that Dalton Varsho is a better player than Juan Soto, or even if he's having a better season than Juan Soto. But this stems from obviously Varsho's complete upgrade in power as of the past few weeks or couple weeks, and especially the last few games here. And his defense he's probably the best defensive outfielder in baseball. Should win a Gold Glove. If he played center field, he'd probably win a Platinum Glove. He's great, and I'm happy he's on our team. And maybe this trade, a lot of people judged it too early. I'm not saying that he couldn't go on a cold streak, but Dalton Varsho has a ceiling of a 5 to 6. I mean, a ceiling really of a 6.5 WAR player if he can
Yeah.
really max out everything, maybe even 7. But that would require him playing center field. But he's up there with some very, very good players, including Bobby Witt Jr., who we will play in 3 hours' time.
Yeah, Bobby Witt Jr. is one of the surefire MVP candidates in the American League, and could say the same thing about Juan Soto. So that's some pretty good company to be in if you're Dalton Varsho. Riley Green, I'm not sure, I'm not familiar with his game.
Tigers player, I believe.
I know he's a Tigers player, but I don't. I thought he started off the season horribly, but I guess he's turned it around here in the past couple of weeks. But Dalton Varsho, yeah, this value really stems from his base running, from his defense, and it just shows how valuable he has been to start off this year. And he's so good, man. He really is. And we said it before the season started. If he can be a slightly above league average hitter, his WAR is probably going to be in the 5 or 6 range. And we saw that with Arizona. I think he had like a 107 or 108 OPS plus, and the league average is 100 in his 2022 season. And he was amazing defensively, so his WAR was 4.9. Right now, he's on a better pace than that offensively. Let's see if he can keep it up, of course, but he's on a better pace than he was offensively in 2022. And his defense is just as good, if not even better. You're saying he's a gold glove caliber type player. I think he could be a platinum glove winner if he keeps this up. He leads the league in defensive runs saved among outfielders and just been so good, so much fun to watch. And his approach has been significantly better than what we saw last year. We saw him swinging at a bunch of garbage pitches last season. He wasn't waiting for his pitch. Now he's getting on base. He's hitting for more power than we saw in the early portion of last year. And it's been great to see. Hopefully he can keep it going. Loving what I'm seeing out of the Varsho here.
Yeah, and he's actually kind of hitting high fastballs, turning on fastballs, and actually not striking out as much as he has the past few seasons. And he started off the season really horribly, so it's great to see him turning around. But hopefully he can continue, and we update this list in a couple weeks' time or a couple months' time, and he's still among those players. That'll be a big, tough task. But Peter, hopefully the Jays can take care of business tonight against the Kansas City Royals. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you want to check out a video from yesterday, click on your screen now, and maybe we'll see you in a few hours.